Hello everybody, welcome to the video. I figured I'd start a new series today. Not completely different, but an updated version of an old series. Over 2 years ago, I started this series reviewing each element on, where I reviewed each element on different roller coasters I've ridden. I would give brief thoughts as the coaster would move through its layout in real time and give grades. They were probably the easiest videos to make and the lowest quality non-wrap videos. I'll miss that series because I've been doing it for so long, and I think I'm the first one who did that series, but now it's time for an upgrade. This upgrade is not something I personally started. I've seen people do it, but it's time to take a spin at it myself. A higher quality series. Whenever I go on a new trip, I'll have the vlogs out first, then I'll rank the coasters I did on the trip, then I'll have in-depth reviews for a coaster, then I'll rank the elements on it. Kinda like what I'm doing for VelociCoaster. I'm expecting Mako to be next before my upcoming tri-state trip. We'll see. I do Montu, but all the elements really feel the same to me. I'll still do a review eventually, but not anytime too soon. Anyways, let's get into VelociCoaster, my number one roller coaster of all time by far. I counted 15 elements on this ride. There's a couple turns in there, but they don't really do anything. They usually bring the ride into a big element. Remember that I did this towards the back once and very back 6 more times, so 7 in total. So this is coming from the back row perspective. These are usually going to be accurate specifically for the back row, which is the row I absolutely recommend. So here are the top 15 elements on VelociCoaster. Number 15 is the speed hill. The speed hill is the airtime hill right before you enter the Mosasaurus roll. This speed hill feels a lot like the speed hill on Steel Vengeance. It doesn't really provide any noteworthy airtime, it just makes the Heartland roll better by rising up a bit, then dropping down into the roll. This speed hill really doesn't do too much, it's the worst element on VelociCoaster. Number 14 are the Raptor turns. These are the turns in the middle of the first half with the Raptor statue to your left. This is one of the slowest parts of the ride. That's okay because you have that cool Raptor effect. I didn't really notice it too well when I rode, but it does have sound effects. It's not anything too special, but it's an element that builds up the craziest parts of the ride. Number 13 is the first launch. The first launch doesn't provide any crazy forces, it just kicks off the ride really. Don't get me wrong, it's better than Maverick's lift hill of course, but it's about on par with Lightning Rod's lift hill. That lift hill is really good though, to be fair. The sound effects while launching and building up to the launch really adds to the excitement, and it's a really great way to start off the best coaster. Number 12 is the dive loop. You do get some very good whip in the back. It's a very fun element, but it just gets overshadowed by so many of these other amazing elements, including the one right before it, which I'll get into sometime after I'm done with this element. It's probably one of my favorite inversions of all time, so if that doesn't tell you how much I love this ride, I don't know what does. Number 11 is the pop into the brakes. I know, how could a pop into the brakes be better than a launch and an inversion? I'll tell you why. Ejector. It provides powerful negative forces. You go flying into your comfortable restraints. This isn't one of the strongest parts of the ride either, but it's one of my favorite pops into brake runs of all time. Goliath over Georgia has a good one, but this is right there too. Insane way to finish the ride off. Number 10 is the second launch. This element is really the only overrated part of the ride in my eyes. It's not overly forceful, and I do prefer Maverick's second launch over this, definitely. That's probably my second favorite launch of all time. This would definitely be top 10, but I don't think top 3, and probably not top 5. But I'd really have to think about it. It's really the start of the second half, and it just boosts you into the best elements on the whole ride. For example, there are 3 more elements of the first half remaining in the countdown, but there's 6 remaining that happen after this launch. So this is a very important launch. Once you hit this element, you're gonna get hyped. So yeah, this launch is a very good one. Number 9 is the wave turn. This is just really good sideways moment of decently sustained airtime. I think it's an underrated moment on the ride. It's not as good as Twisted Cyclone's wave turn, but it's better than Lightning Rod's. I really don't know what else to say about this element. It's just a really good moment of ejector airtime. Number 8 is the airtime hill into the left turn. I don't really know what you'd call this. All I know is that you get yanked over this hill you're seeing here, providing some really strong ejector. It's one of the best elements of the first half. I would imagine the front isn't anything special, but in the back it's a very memorable moment on the ride, even for a ride with so many amazing elements. You might overlook this element watching a front row POV of it, but in the back it's insane. Number 7 is that random ejector turn. I was really not anticipating this at all. This is one of the most surprising elements I've ever had on a coaster. This element really never caught my eye on POVs, and it's never talked about. What makes this so good is it's in the slower part of the ride. Then the turn to the right feels like a launch is on there. It boosts you really fast, and you get powerful ejector on this. I don't know what about it made it like that. I couldn't figure that out in any of my rides. I'm not complaining though. Ejector is something I can't ask questions about. I'll just receive. Number 6 is the final hill. I went in expecting this to be another speed hill. I didn't really think much of it. This isn't just another speed hill. It feels like a hill on Lightning Rod's quad down, but with more comfortable restraints. It's actually insane. This also happens directly after the Mosasaurus roll, so when you're still processing that element, you get yanked into this amazing, powerful ejector airtime hill. This is one of the reasons the VelociCoaster has my favorite finale on a coaster. Number 5 is the Immelman. The Immelman itself isn't anything really special. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but the dive loops inversion itself is better. The reason this is so high is for the pullout of the element. You get insane ejector airtime coming down from it. And not only that, the hand chopper you get with the rocks is really what makes this element what it is. In the front, this looks like another element, but in the back, this is incredible. Definitely one of the most slept on moments of the ride. I love this. Number 4 is the Zero G stall. This is my favorite Zero G stall. It is so good. I didn't expect it to be insane because it didn't sound that way from other people, but I'm honestly glad it wasn't hyped up for me because it blew me away. You whip into it and get some awesome hang time on it. It's not very sustained, but that's not a bad thing because it tears right through it. It whips through it. Most people say you don't feel fully inverted, and I guess it's a little bit at an angle, but it's not too noticeable to me. I think whatever angle it's at is perfect because this is one of my favorite inversions of all time. Number 3 is the Mosasaurus roll. It seems like most people have this as their number 1 element on the ride. That doesn't mean I think it's overrated. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just love this coaster. This inversion is absolutely insanely incredible. It's one of my favorite inversions other than the pretzel loops. I think, yeah, it's up there with the pretzel loops. I really like them just as much. It's actually Heartline roll, but it goes extremely close to the water. With your arms up, it feels way too insane. I had to hold on. It was best on my first ride because it just blew me away, but every single ride on this element shocked me. Inversions are my favorite elements, but if more were like this, inversions would be some of the best things in a coaster. It has the most insane hang time I felt, and some of the most whip I felt, all at once. You feel like you're going to slip out of your restraint. Not like over-exaggerating, you actually feel yourself slipping out of the seat. It's just wild. You really have to feel this element for yourself. Number 2 is the top hat. In the back, you rise up and then you get pulled very hard into your restraint. It's whippy, it's ejector, it has some awesome butterflies. It's one of my favorite drops of all time. And the fact that it's right after a launch really shows this ride is insane. You can see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Hollywood Rip Rod Rocket very well from it. And if you turn around, you can see Hulk. Also, you can see downtown Orlando outside of the park. Then you look down at all the cameras taking pictures and videos of you because it's a very good view, not just from the ride but on the ground. You then go right past them into the Zero G stall, but this top hat is my favorite top hat. I prefer it to Top Thrill Dragster because the drop is just better. It's not twisted, so you get ejector airtime and butterflies. This element is amazing. The number 1 element, in my opinion, On the best coaster, VelociCoaster, is the Outer Bank. This probably isn't an extremely popular choice for the number one element on VelociCoaster, but this has some insane ejector air time. It's better than the Outer Bank on Steel Vengeance. It's not as sustained, but you go flying. It's the strongest airtime moment on the ride, and you get some laterals. You fly into laterals, and then when you're still slamming to the side, you get ejected to the right. You get a nice view of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. You won't be focusing too well on it though, because you'll be experiencing the best moment of airtime on VelociCoaster. Personally, my favorite element on VelociCoaster, one of my favorite elements of all time. Don't sleep on it, although that's not too bad of a thing, because it'll really shock you if you do. So that'll do it for the video. Every single one of these moments is so good on VelociCoaster. It's relentless from start to finish, and you really need to get to Universal Islands of Adventure. You'll be wondering, what took you so long to get there and ride this? So with that being said, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the video, and I will see you later.